This is the Zhiyun Smooth 5S and this is the Hohem M6. Both of these are very similar in a lot of ways. They have a lot of the same features, but you know, which one should you buy, or which one do I recommend to you to actually purchase if you're thinking about grabbing one of these? Well, in this video we're going to try and cover a lot of the things. So we're going to talk about the specs and everything, and I'll give you some of the pros and cons of both of these mobile phone gimbals. Very similar price. The Hohem M6 is £159 currently on Amazon, and the Zhiyun Smooth 5S is £169. So between £10 difference. They both are 3-axis Pro gimbals. The Zhiyun actually weighs about 625 grams and the Hohem is 551. So there's a bit of a weight difference. There's about 100 grams difference to the Zhiyun, but I'll talk on why that is as we go on in the video. They both support Type-C charging, but the Zhiyun actually supports fast charging, 18 watts. So if you know time is an issue, then charging this up is a lot faster. They have both 360-degree pan. The one difference between the AI modules is that the Zhiyun version can be switched around to the bottom if you want to have it on the bottom, so it's dual-sided. That comes in handy if you're switching the cameras around, or you're going to vertical and you want to have it on the other side, then that comes in very useful. As with the Hohem, it's only on the top, so you know, if that's something you think you're going to be using a lot, then the Zhiyun has a little bit of an advantage when it comes to the orientation. They both have fill lights, but the Zhiyun has this fill light on the arm built in, so you're not going to lose it. It's actually built into the device. With the Hohem, it's built into the AI module, which is something I want to talk about, these AI modules, in a second. But you know, they both feature fill lights and they work very well. They're both controllable from the device as well. As far as compatibility with different applications and third-party apps, you can use both of these, of course, with the native camera app because they are stabilized gimbals, and you can still have the tracking because they feature these AI modules. If you're not using the AI module, then you can only use Hohem's own app to use tracking and the other features and the gesture control through their app. But with the Zhiyun, it's actually compatible with Filmic Pro. So if you want to get some more features, some more advanced film recording features, then Filmic Pro is compatible with the Smooth S. There is a 25-hour battery on the Zhiyun and an 18-hour battery on the Hohem, so a bit of advantage for Zhiyun when it comes to battery life. We've also got zoom and focus with these wheels. Both feature this cool wheel where you can actually control the focus and the zoom, but you have to use both of the applications simultaneously with this, so you can only do the zoom and the focus through the Hohem app, for instance. They both have sort of 1/4-inch accessories on the side to add, I don't know, monitors or an extra sort of arm or whatever to actually hold this, so you can add different handles and different accessories, or even lights, for instance. And they both feature through the AI module and the application gesture control and AI tracking and recording. As far as being used as a gimbal, which is, you know, what these things are actually used for, they work very well. You get some really smooth footage, but you know, they work well. They've both got really interesting modes like pan follow, pan tilt follow. You've got POV and lock mode on both of these. The one difference between these two gimbals, which I think gives the Hohem a little bit of an advantage, is the fact that it's got a screen on here. There's a very small 0.91-inch screen on here, so you can see clearly what mode you're in. As with the Zhiyun, you've only got this sort of thing on the top here, very small strip to actually see what mode you're in, and it's quite sort of dim in bright sunlight as well, so you can't always see which mode you're in. I'm not a massive fan of that, but to be honest, that is probably the only con of this particular gimbal. They both work very well as mobile phone gimbals. You've got a trigger to lock the footage, for instance, like so, and you can go in and out. They pan up and down with good range of motion. You can switch the gimbal round to get the arm out of the shot with both of these by quadruply tapping, tapping 4 times on the trigger, both like 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, like that, and it sort of orientates the camera out the way. So if the arm is in the shot and you want to use the wide angle lens, for instance, you 4 taps and it will turn it around so the arm is behind. The same with the Zhiyun, does the same thing like so, does it in a slightly different way, but it's very clever. So you can use the wide angle lens with these. You're not getting any arms or the motors in the shot, so that's a great feature of both of these. The pros of the Zhiyun is that it has a more premium feel. The handle and the build quality is just slightly more premium than the M6. It's got a very nice grippy rubber on the back of this, and it just feels nice to use in the hand. Although it is the heavier gimbal, you don't really notice. Just for me, I think it feels like a bit more premium. You have this new design on the 5S where it's got this sort of see-through plastic on the arms. It's a nice little design touch. It looks very premium, feels very premium, and that's what you'd kind of expect for something like this. It does feel very nice. In comparison, the Hohem, you know, it still works well, still fine, but it just feels a little bit more plasticky, maybe a little bit more fragile. Yeah, it doesn't feel as nice to use in the hand, just feels a little bit cheaper. The light is very, very good, so you can hold the button down on the gimbal to turn the light on like that, and then it's very easy to sort of increase, like just by scrolling the wheel down here, and then you can just turn it off as well. You can adjust the temperature if you want to, so that's what I like about the light. The light, in comparison on the Hohem, you sort of have to hold this side wheel down, and that turns the light, and then you change it by doing that. It's not quite as intuitive because you're using your thumb on this easily. You don't have to sort of do that. With this, you have to sort of use both hands if you want to control the light. You know, both have lights, but it's just a little bit easier to use the Zhiyun light than the M6 light. As far as pros for the Hohem, it does have that LED screen. That's what I do like about it. It is a little bit lighter, about 100 grams, and the tripod included with the actual kit is just a bit wider. It's a bit smaller on the Zhiyun. It's not a massive issue, but if you're thinking about doing lots of motion time lapses with these, which you can do with both of these gimbals, then it has just a bit of a wider tripod with the Hohem. One thing to think about is, you know, these are only magnetic on there, so there is the potential to lose these. You can use the tracking features if you do lose this, but if you lose this one on the Hohem, you lose also the light, and they're a little bit more expensive to replace. It's about £50 to replace this AI gimbal on the M6, but with the Zhiyun, it's about £20 to replace the AI gimbal. And if you do lose it, then all you're doing is really losing the fact that you can use gesture control without the application. You've still got the light built in there, so you know, just something to think about, because I have lost one of these in the past on the other MT2 from M6, so I had to sort of replace that. So just something to think about. What can happen will happen, and I have lost one in the past, so it's just something to think about. So personally, you know, both of these gimbals work well, they're fine, they have a bunch of features. If I had to choose one though, it would have to be the Zhiyun, because it just feels a little bit more premium, and the application is a little bit better. It just feels a little bit better than the M6 in the hand, and a little bit more easier to use. The motors on this actually feel a little bit more powerful as well than the M6. While this is a great gimbal, I did a positive review on this when I reviewed it. I think it is great. Now I've got this one. This is the one I would choose. It's very, very premium. It feels good in the hand, and that's what I like about it. So if I had to choose one, it would have to be the Zhiyun. That's it for this one. If you want to grab either one of these, there'll be links in the description down below. Those will be affiliate links, and those help this channel grow if you do purchase that link, but you don't have to. If I've got any discount codes or anything, I'll link it in the pinned comment and in the description. That's it for this one. Make sure you check out this video if you like this kind of stuff, and you might like this one over here as well. Subscribe to the channel, really does help, but I'll see you on the next one. Bye guys.